Oh heavens, there's two of me now. Do you ever get the feeling you're having one of those nights? How funny. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll put that up there. There we go. I've done that before. Right, well, good evening everybody. Can you still hear me alright? I've just turned that off and back on again to set the recording going. Welcome to Wildly Wicked Webinars, the Halloween edition of my Wicked Webinars. Now, this is a webinar that I've run previously, but it was oversubscribed by about 5 times. I had something like 535 people register, but I only had 100 seats. So I figured that a lot of people who couldn't make it would like to catch it live this time round. As it is, it looks like they're going to get the recording again. For those who may be just watching the replay, we've had a few technical difficulties on this webinar, and the reason for that is because I am experimenting with using a new combination of webinar platform and autoresponder, and it all seems to have let me down at the most important time, which is giving people the instructions on how to join, which isn't good. So most people will just be catching this as a recording. So why am I so absolutely just bowled over by webinars? Because they've literally changed my life around, and I know they can change your life around too. And I'm going to give you loads of content on this webinar this evening, and I'm going to make sure that I cram as much as I can in. Whoops. Yeah, I'm getting this is quite funny, guys. I'm getting lots of emails in now. I didn't receive any joining instructions. they're all coming in. Never mind. What one of those things. Yes, so the reason that I'm really a big fan of webinars is I know that they are going to change your life around, because it's the best way. As I said on the registration page, it is the fastest, easiest and best way to get your message out to your audience. And if you stick around to the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you some tools to make your planning of webinars easier, and I am also going to tell you about an amazing discount that you can get your hands on for a special webinar promotion offer. So that's something that's very exciting indeed. So just moving on then, really to the context of it. One of the things that I love about webinars is that it takes your business from being local to being global. I'm in the happy position now of having clients all over the world, and without ever having to leave the comfort of my own home, which is absolutely fantastic. Welcome Celia. We've got Celia joining us now as well. I mean, I'm welcoming people individually, guys, because something has gone wrong with the instructions and not everybody has been given the instructions to come on. So welcome. I've got literally 3 people live. I'm not gonna be one of these people who pretend that I've got thousands when it's gone wrong. I've got Celia from. Is that the French flag, Celia? No, it's not French, is it? That's French's vertical lines. Where are you from, Celia? I don't recognise the flag. Oh, you're Dutch. Fantastic. So we've got 3 people on, and from 3 different parts of the world. We've got Holland, we've got the States, and we have good old UK as well. How cool is that? And this is kind of really what I'm saying about webinars, is that you can reach people. It doesn't matter what the time zones are. I've got clients in Australia. Oh, you're English. Brilliant. But it's a Dutch flag. Okay, fantastic. Anyway, what I wanted to do is really persuade you this evening that, technical difficulties aside, webinars are fantastic. You know, where do they come into the grand scheme of things? Well, my specialist area is getting people to tell the whole world about your business through speaking. And you can speak in many situations. You can speak live on stage, you can speak at meetings, networking events, that kind of thing, and then of course you can speak online through the medium of webinars and videos. And you know, a lot of the things that I'm able to teach people you can use in all of those situations. Now, in order to be able to deliver a really good webinar or a good talk in any of the other mediums, there are 4 things you need to have, which are the cornerstones. You need to have confidence, you need to have the right content, You need to have a certain level of charisma, you know, that kind of delivery, the twinkle in your eye that connects with your audience. And of course, you need to go for continuous improvement. So it doesn't matter at what point you are when you're starting off. It doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner and you've never spoken on stage before, or if you've never done a webinar before, or it doesn't matter if you've got a few under your belt, but you want to get to a place where you're getting better and better results. And at the heart of it all is selling. You may or may not be selling a product or a program on your webinar. You may be selling an idea. So if you're educating people, you're selling an idea and a concept that they need to understand and get their heads around. Obviously, if you're in business, webinars are a great selling tool as well. Now, one of the things that I like to say is that webinars, are just really easy. And I'm going to tell you all tonight about the ABC of webinars. So first of all, let me tell you a little bit about me, for those of you who don't know me. Now, I'm not going to do the traditional big song and dance. I know a lot of webinar providers do a great big thing about their story. I'm not going to do that this evening. I'm just going to say that I have been a coach and a trainer now and self-employed for the last 14 years. Started off offline, was really successful. Then the recession hit, things started to get more and more difficult, and I started getting fed up of traveling all the way around the country to try and get work. So I was told about, coming up 3 years ago now, about going online. I took my business online, and it's the best thing I've ever done. And how many of you guys have got your own business that you're running online at the moment? If you just type in the little box for me, let me know. How many of you, are you employed, self-employed? I'm guessing most people who are getting my emails are self-employed, running their own business. If you just type in the box for me, yes or no, or what your situation is, that would be really cool. Yeah, fantastic. No, not yet. So is that something you want to do? Something that you're planning to do in the future? Okay. So, but it doesn't matter what the situation is. And trying, it can be very trying, can't it? But the thing about webinars is that it helps to set you up as an expert in your field. And the one thing that it did for me was it moved me from beginning to struggle with my offline business, and then I went online, and again, all the traditional methods of doing the online business, setting up an opt-in page and then leading to a sales page, and trying to just do everything through web pages. It was really slow, and I felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall, and I started doing webinars. And once I started, it just gradually started gathering momentum and gathering more momentum, and finally, I make no I don't hide the fact that earlier this year I had my first 5-figure month online. And it is such a wonderful feeling. Not only finally, you've made your online business work, and you've got people out there who've connected with you, people out there who bought your products. It's also then when you start working with those people, and finally you're getting to do what it is that you love to do. And most people who go into training or coaching and set up their own business, it's because you kind of feel a passion about helping people in situations. So the fact that I'm now allowed to help people, that is worth so very much. I can't even begin to describe how that feels. My background is I live in Plymouth, in the very southwest of England. But what's really interesting tonight, once you start doing the whole online business, and certainly when you're doing webinars, it truly is a laptop lifestyle. I'm actually broadcasting this evening from my sister's home in the heart of the Kent countryside, which is the far southeast of England. So you can even go on holiday and or on business trips, and you can still run webinars. How cool is that? Absolutely fantastic. My hobbies are, I like salsa dancing, especially by the sea, which is where I live in Plymouth. And my dream, because we've all got a dream, my dream is to go and live in Gibraltar, which is the picture on the far right there at the bottom of the screen. I am myself studying all the time for continuous improvement, and I'm very fortunate to study with some of the best mentors in the world. But the thing I want to say, guys, is that in order to run webinars, the one thing that you do need to do is step out of the learner shoes for a moment and step into teacher shoes. One of the big things that I found, being very big on continuous learning, I went into student mode and I would say, well, I can't do this until I've learned that, and then I need to learn this, and then I need to learn that. And it was only when I managed to step out of the learner shoes and actually into the teacher role that suddenly things started to change. I started getting more uptake on my webinars, and then things started to happen. And that's what I want for you. I want to share my journey with you so you don't have to make the mistakes that I've made, and I can take you by the hand and help you get started with running your own webinars and get whatever business ideas you've got off the ground. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's get into the I just put that screenshot in. This was the 5-figure month that I had in May, and that's a shot of my PayPal account. And I know it's a bit cheesy when a lot of people do this, and I ummed and ahed whether or not I should put this slide in, but I thought, do you know what, I will, because you can see there the dates, all pretty much the same, 21st, 22nd of May. Previous to that, my PayPal account, I have to say, guys, was a bit barren. And it's so nice when that starts to happen, and I want this to be you. That's what I'm showing you this for, because I want this to be you. Alright, so what we're going to cover tonight then is 12 reasons why you need webinars. And I've already given you lots of reasons already. I'm going to give you some traffic tactics so that you can get people on and fill your webinars. I'm going to talk about some platform reviews that you might want to have a look at. There are more and more different platforms coming on all the time now. Some mistakes to avoid that really do make you look amateur, and how to avoid them, more importantly. I'm going to give you the #1 key insight to webinars that sell. I'm going to give you a few different ways that your audience can stay with you. Then I'm going to give you all the different strategies that you can use to actually make webinars work for you, and more importantly, so how you can make an income from webinars, because there's lots of different ways. You've got the traditional ways, but there are lots of other ways as well. And then what I'm going to do is just tell you a little bit about how you can get more information on webinars and answer some of your questions. And like I said at the end, stick around, because not only have I got a special template tool for you to use, but I've got details of how you can get a fabulous discount on promotional webinar videos as well. And we've now been joined as well. Good evening. We've been joined by Oliver, and is that, I recognise, a German flag? Good evening to you. So it's nice that we've got people from all over the place. And I do apologise for anybody who's just joining us late. There was a problem with the joining instructions on this particular webinar. So let's keep going. As I said, webinars, quite simply, are as easy as ABC, and that's what I'm going to go through this evening. The first thing that we want to be able to do is have audience sellout. So the A stands for audience sellout. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, really, all you need to do is drive traffic to your webinars. You simply set up, when you set your webinar up, you set up a registration page like the one that you all use to sign up to this particular webinar, and then what you've got to do is you've got to drive people there. And there are a number of ways that you're going to do that. First of all, the most obvious is if you have an existing email list, then you write to them and you send them an invite. Also, any other email contacts you might have. So you might have contacts in your Outlook account. You might have been collecting business cards. Send them an invite. You don't have to spam people. It's just, an invite to a free webinar. Where's the harm in that? If you kept on doing it all the time, then it might be a problem. Obviously you are able to contact your existing email list because they're subscribers of yours more often than perhaps people in your other contacts. Some key things to do is set up a Facebook event. That is a really good way of getting it out there. And then what you can do is you can invite all your friends. You can share it on your Facebook pages. You can do the same with Google Plus. Set up a Google Plus event and share that with your circles. The other thing that you can do then is, once you've set up your Facebook event, you can promote your post. It can cost as little as $5 to promote your post on Facebook, which is pretty cool. And if you wanted to, you could go a bit further and take Facebook ads. Always post it on LinkedIn. I found that's a really good medium. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a little sip of water here. You can post on Twitter as well. So you've got lots of ways of getting that information out. Other things that you can do, which, if you're doing a really big campaign, put together a series of posters all about your webinar and post them on Pinterest. There's a lot of people, it depends on your audience, of course. I wouldn't suggest for a minute that you spend perhaps all of your time doing all of these things. It depends on who your audience are, where they hang out. There's obviously a lot of female following on Pinterest, so if your targeted audience is pretty much female, then it's a really good place to start, is by putting stuff onto Pinterest. I would always recommend that you put a video on your registration page, and then you post that video on YouTube. And when you post the video on YouTube, put the link underneath so that they can go from the YouTube video to your registration page as well. And I'll tell you what, it is incredible how, if you put little opt-in videos and you host them on YouTube, so that then you can embed them in your registration page for your webinar, that can absolutely do amazing things for your YouTube channel. I'd been running webinars for a while, and I've been putting my little opt-in pages and been using, and then of course I've been recording the webinars and uploading the replays onto YouTube. And I was watching some training on YouTube, and they said, about the channel and the name of your channel. And it's sometimes a good idea to have the name of your channel the same as your business. And I thought, well, my YouTube channel is quite simply, Tina Sibley. And I thought, oh, maybe I should have the Online Public Speaking Academy as my YouTube channel, or something which is related to one of my products. And they also said in the YouTube training, well, if you've got more than 10,000 views, it's probably not a good idea to change. Leave it as it is. So I went and had a look, thinking I'd probably had about 800 views, and I had 11,000 views on my YouTube channel. And that was totally a surprise for me. And most of that is because of all the stuff I've been doing with webinars. And I've got subscribers now on my YouTube channel, and they feed each other. So the webinars have fed my YouTube following, and vice versa. So it's really handy. Now, JV Partners is a brilliant way of getting people onto your webinars. It is just one of the best. That is the thing that really helped me to get a lot of people onto my webinar that I did earlier in the year. That was a JV partner, which was fantastic. Now, when you're beginning, I would suggest that you hold off on JV Partners until you feel a bit more comfortable, because and also I wouldn't experiment. One of the things it's taught me, I was initially planning to run a JV partnership for the webinar this evening, and one big learning curve for me here is, do not use a new platform or a new combination of platforms when you're running a JV partnership. And because if something's going to go wrong, you don't really want it going wrong when you're working with a JV partner. Does that make sense? So I would say, when you're beginning, or if you're trying new platforms or anything new, steer clear of the JV partner until you know it's running like clockwork, because you don't want to waste a good JV partner opportunity when things potentially can go wrong. Again, forums, solo ads, live networking, opt-in pages, getting search engine optimization on your opt-in pages, all of those kind of things. I don't really need to tell you what they're about. That's kind of pretty standard, but you can see that there's a lot of different ways you can get traffic to your webinars. you know, not all of them will work for you. It's just a question of picking some of them. To be honest, my favorite ones, apart from emailing my list, are Facebook and Google Plus. I get most of my traffic from those mediums. Okay, so those are traffic techniques. So those are the things that we're going to do to make sure that we do have, you know, bums on seats. And now what I've got is I've put together, and I've got a little wicked webinar challenge Facebook group, which is, you know, free to join. Just go and find it and ask to join. And I've got a whole load of things on promotion and ideas that you can download for free within the documents of that page. Okay, so the next thing then, A is audience sellout, B is build and deliver. So what we need to do now is think, well, okay, how are we going to use, oh brilliant, people are starting to use my test link from the Facebook group that I put up. So hi test, I don't know who you are, where you're from, say in the chat, oh, is it getting a bit loud? Sorry, thanks Oliver. I'm just going to reduce the volume a little bit. Okay. Is that better? Is that loud enough? Oh, hiya Tiffany, well spotted. Okay, how's that volume-wise, guys? Is that too loud? Is that okay? Is that better? It's a bit crackling. Okay. I'll take it down a little bit more. Can you still hear it? Is that okay? Can you still hear me? Is it crackling? Am I too quiet now? Alright, fantastic. Okay, yeah, so the next part is build and deliver. You know, so what we're going to look at now is what we need to do. Oh, now I need to turn it up a little bit. It's quite fun. Do you know what, guys? One of the things I want to encourage you is when you're working with technology, how's that? How's the volume there? Okay, you might just need to adjust it on your own individual speakers. You know, I can't get it right for everybody. Okay, fantastic. So one of the things I want to encourage you guys is, obviously you can see that this evening things have gone wrong for me. And in fact, a lot of the times when I do run a webinar, something goes wrong. But what I want to get across to you is, don't let that stop you. Don't let it frighten you. I know it can feel a bit scary, especially if you're new, but just keep going in with it. Just keep going through it, and eventually all the little technical stuff that happens, you will learn to deal with. You'll learn to get over them. And there is, I don't think I know anybody who runs webinars where it doesn't go wrong sometimes. You know, I know even Daniel Wagner. Now, Daniel Wagner obviously is a massive user of webinars. For those of you who know him, for those of you who don't know him, he's just come out with his book Expert Success. Daniel's created a 7-figure business, and a lot of that has been on webinars. And not that long ago, he was using GoToWebinar, and he had to cancel the whole thing. Again, technical difficulties. When you're working over the internet, it's going to happen. But please, please, please don't let it put you off. Work with it. If the worst happens, you just re-record it on your own as a video and you send out the replay. Okay, so I want you to be encouraged. It doesn't matter if it doesn't go to plan, just keep going. As they say, the show must go on. Alrighty, so what we're going to look at building and delivering then is, there's 4 parts to this. Okay, the first thing you've got to do is choose your platform. Then you've got to look at some mistakes that you want to avoid. There's a key insight that I want to share with you. And then, of course, what you want to do is keep people with you. Now, a big welcome to the people who've just joined late. There are not many of us on, as you'll see when you get the replay tonight. It did all go a bit pear-shaped with the joining instructions. And I am really thrilled that some of you have persevered enough to finally find your way in here. So a massive welcome to those of you who've just joined us a little bit later on, and thank you for persevering to come and find us. Right, what I'd like to do is ask you, loyal follower, bless, that's lovely. What I want to ask you guys is, how many of you have run webinars before? And if you have run them before, put how many times, whether it's 1, 2, 6, many, or whatever. Just type in the little box for me. How many times you run webinars, if at all? Okay, so we've got 1. And I know all about that one, don't I? Okay. So let me know, guys. Yeah, too scared. You're in good company, Celia. Mary, never. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a few people who haven't. Somebody who's only just done it once. And it is scary. You know, this is why actually we put it around the Halloween theme, because we're, you know, coming up close. And it is scary. Oliver, never, but first one, November the 11th. Good luck with that, Oliver. Fantastic. It is scary, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, but what I want to do is encourage you to take that leap of faith, because it will be the best thing that you ever did. I was terrified when I did my first one. You know, and occasionally sometimes, you know, I still get a little bit of a flutter, but I can't tell you how that passes. And even the technological nightmares that you can sometimes get, it passes, and you just think, oh well, never mind, I'll do it, you know, I'll do it better next time. Or oh well, never mind, I'll do a recording and I'll send out the replay. Or oh well, never mind, I'll reschedule it next week. The more you do that, the more you persevere with it, and the more used to them you'll become, the more expert you'll become at them. And I am passionate about giving you everything that I can do to, number one, lessen that fear, give you the encouragement, hold you by the hand, because do you know what? There are lots of people out there who stay scared, they won't do it, and because of that, if you do it, if you do webinars, you will automatically rise above them, and you will be the ones who are seen to be the experts. Does that make sense? So type yes in the box if that makes sense. So no matter how scary it appears, all right, I want you to just put your, you know, basically put your head above the parapet, you know, stick your neck on the line and do it, because people will respect you for doing it, even if it doesn't come across exactly as planned. Fantastic, you know, brilliant. That's what I love to hear, Oliver. You know, that's exactly why to do it, because it's going to give you expert status. Alright, so platform then. Let's have a little look at the good old platform that we're going to use. So that you've got lots of choices. Now the good thing about the platforms are there are more and more and more platforms coming out all of the time. The big one that, you know, it seems to be the most popular and has done for a few years is GoToWebinar. Now I'm going to say this, GoToWebinar are easy to use in some respects. They're very easy to use in terms of setting it up and sending it out, and it being quite reliable. Okay. Now, where GoToWebinar falls down a little bit, and one of the things I don't like about them, is that they don't integrate that well with other autoresponders. So when you want to capture people's names and email addresses, what happens is with GoToWebinar's registration pages, it captures the name and email address, and then it captures it in GoToWebinar's database. And then what it'll do is it will spit out an Excel spreadsheet with the attendees on it. Okay, that's fine. But the thing is then you've got to upload those into your autoresponder system, and that can be a pain, especially if you're using somebody like Aweber. Aweber will then ask everybody to confirm their name and email address. Well, if they've already attended the webinar, why would they do that? So it's unlikely you're going to lose an awful lot of people. GoToWebinar will integrate better with some autoresponders, but of course the most popular one is Aweber, and they just don't talk to each other, which seems ridiculous to me, but there we go. It's relatively easy to use, it's relatively easy to operate. The big downfall with GoToWebinar, apart from the registration system, is that if you're recording yourself on webcam, it will not record the webcam element of it. So you can turn your camera on and you can get people to see you live, but then when you send it out as a recording, they will not record the webcam. And the other thing, of course, with GoToWebinar is that it's expensive. It costs a lot of money to keep going GoToWebinar. Okay, you've got instant teleseminar. That's not bad. That's very cost effective in the grand scheme of things. I am using right now Evergreen Business System. Again, what I like about this particular system is you've got the ability to have yourself on webcam all the way through. That works. Also, there are a lot of people who like that, and there's some people who don't like that. I was just speaking to somebody only yesterday who said that they actually found it difficult when to have somebody speaking to webcam because it was distracting. On balance, what I like is that you can build a relationship, people can see you, and it's much easier to build a relationship quickly if somebody can see you. And because I don't use a lot of text on my slides anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the kind of main part of the presentation, and the slides are just they're just visual aids. I also like the chat. I like the chat box. I like the fact that you can chat to each other as well as me, because that increases engagement. So there you go. And of course, this is what the Evergreen system looks like. So on the right hand side here. Now there is another system. Evergreen, you have to buy it. It's a one-off. And then you can have a live version, which is a lot cheaper than GoToWebinar. There is a cheaper version called Meet Cheat, which is only like $10 a month, which is an absolute no-brainer. It's good. It doesn't have the marketing bells and whistles that Evergreen has. And it's very basic, but again, it does the job, and it's, that's quite funny. I think technology is really playing up tonight. I just got an email in saying thank you for attending the webinar. Well, hello, I'm still on it as far as I know. Sorry guys, you know what, when things go wrong you just have to have a giggle at them. That's the only thing you can do. Now, AnyMeeting is very good. There is a free version of AnyMeeting, and sadly they recently stopped allowing you to record on the free version. So you can only now record in AnyMeeting when you're paying for the professional version of it. I've had good reports from AnyMeeting. I haven't used it myself in a while, but I have had good reports from it. And of course you've got new ones which have come out, Webinar Express, which I've used, which I really love, and also you've got the new Casey Siemens Easy Webinar plugin as well. So there's lots and lots of ones to look for. Now again, what I've put together in the Wicked Webinar Challenge Facebook group is I've put together a very short, succinct review of about 10 of them. So that might be worth checking out as well. Okay, so those are the platforms. Oops, come here, my mouse is going mad. There you go. The next thing is just a few mistakes for you to avoid, really. Sometimes you can't always avoid some of these mistakes. Like, for example, big silences. If you can, keep talking, even if there is something happening. It's not always easy. Like, for example, right at the very start of this, there was a silence while I went and tried to check out what was going on because people weren't getting the joining instructions. It's one of those things that if you're gonna have a silence, tell people what you're doing and how long it's going to be. So I said right at the beginning, okay, bear with me one moment. I'm going to pop over to the Facebook page and see if there's anything going on over there. So people knew to expect it. Does that make sense? But don't have a big silence that people are not expecting. Now, you should always rehearse. Okay, a big mistake is not rehearsing. I can't guarantee that rehearsals will mean everything's going to go all right on the night. In fact, I've had 5 rehearsals for this webinar and it still went wrong, and it went right on the previous rehearsals. So, hey, I don't know what's happening, but there you go. However, one of the big things that will happen if you don't rehearse is that, it will come across stilted and not natural. When you've rehearsed it a few times, most things that you can do sound natural. And again, you want to just sound as natural as you possibly can without having to, worry about too many things. Getting your timing wrong is also a mistake to try to avoid if you can. Again, this isn't always easy. My timing is already out tonight because of the start of the evening where nobody came on, and I realised, oh gosh, I don't think anybody's had the joining instructions. So what you need to do then is try and adjust for that. A lot of people also forget the audience is there. And what tends to happen is when they forget the audience is there, you start doing this kind of thing and using your keyboard and just not being audience focused. You need to remember that you've got a webcam, and this kind of fits in with some of the things that we're talking later on. But even if you haven't got a webcam there, talk to your audience, ask them questions, get people involved, and avoid going into what I call presenter mode. This is kind of like the good evening, this is the news. It's like you're not a TV presenter, Just be normal, be yourself. If you go into presenter mode very often, you're too stiff. People are not going to engage with you. You haven't got to be a TV presenter. You just have to get your message across. Okay. Again, another big one is by having slides which are completely too filled with text. Okay. Yes, of course. I've got one of the people on here under the name Test saying, "But I am. Yes, you are a TV presenter, Tiffany," which is fantastic. But you're a very natural one, and that comes across beautifully on your webinars as well. Okay. The cheapest out of all those platforms I mentioned was Meet Cheap. If you want all of the details on the prices, go and join the Facebook group, Wicked Webinar Challenge. Just type it in, find me, send me a message if you can't find the group, and I'll add you, and I've got all the prices in there for you. Okay, again, as I said, not looking into the camera is a big mistake when you are talking on webcam. Now again, you haven't got to do this all the time. You don't want to stare at people. That can be kind of quite scary and shocking and a bit Halloweeny, actually, But at the same time, don't make the mistake of just looking at the screen all the time and having people, sort of looking at the top of your head. Alrighty, so those are some mistakes to avoid and what to do instead. So the next thing is, now this is my favourite insight of all. This is my number one key insight that I learned, and when I used it, it made a massive difference. And instead of just selling the odd product here and the odd product there, that was what filled up that PayPal account slide that I showed you. And this number one key insight was to put your content into a system. Now, this webinar that I'm doing this evening, if you remember, I put it into a context of, first of all, I had in fact, I'll show you. Oh, and my slide doesn't come. It's one of those nights. The slide doesn't come out very well. But do you remember in the middle I had the 4 squares, which is the confidence, the content, the charisma, and the continuous improvement with selling in the middle? That is a model. It's a system. And I have evolved that now into something which I'm going to be launching in 2 weeks' time, actually, which will be my 5-star speaker system. But even tonight's webinar, I've put the content into the ABC of webinars. And everything that I've done, all those things that I said I was going to tell you about, the traffic and the mistakes to avoid and the insights and the lessons, they've all sat within that ABC. When you put something into a system or a model, number one, it becomes more easy to remember. Number two, it makes you look like, you're a proper teacher and you know what you're doing, and you're able to get that information across in a way that is memorable and is going to stick. Okay. So it's really, really a good idea to put your stuff around some kind of model or system, and it will really help you go a long way. And in fact, what I'm moving on to now is I have created what I'm calling now the 4 P's of successful webinars, okay, which is all about planning, presentation, platform and promotion. And that's all you need. You know, sometimes it can be an acronym, it can be, you know, the 4 E's, the 7 C's, the 5 C's or whatever. It's still a system. You know, you can be more adventurous with it, but it's still a system, and these kind of ways of putting your content together works. Okay, another thing on the build and deliver is little tips, really. That's all this is little tips to keep them with you. You'll notice that all the way through I've asked questions. I gave you a handout when you signed up initially, and then when I sent the welcome email, there's a handout that you could download to actually use to fill in the blanks as you go along, which helps with retention afterwards as well. You can use polls. Now, normally at the very beginning, I'll do a poll. I didn't this evening because of the technological difficulties. I thought I haven't got enough people to run a poll, to be honest. But, you know, you can use polls to get people, and then you can give the results of the polls, you know, which is really useful as well. Again, with the variety of the delivery, don't be boring with it. You need to change your voice, you need to change the energy, you need to, you know, move around, use a bit of humour. You can tease people with the content. Later on we're going to give you this, and you might kind of put the 4 C's down but not reveal what they are until later. There's lots of things that you can do to keep your audience with you. Okie dokie, so that is basically, you know, the build and deliver. Okay, so it's all about your platform, some of the mistakes to avoid, this key insight of using a model or a system, and then little tips and tricks that you can use to keep people engaged with you. So finally, we have the C, which is the cash in part. So we've got the ABC, all about the audience sellout, you know, the traffic techniques, how to actually put your webinar together, and now all the things that you can do to cash in. How many ways can you think of? Right, I want you to type in the box here different ways that you can think of where you can make money from webinars. Okay, so I'm going to get you telling me rather than just me sit here and drone at you. So let's have your ideas, and we might even have come up with a few more than what I've put together. So type in how you think you can make money from webinars. Yeah, affiliate marketing. Yeah, sell products. Okay, any other ideas? Those pretty much are the main ways. Yeah, exercise, absolutely, exercise videos, you know. Yeah, selling programs, fantastic. Well, there's even more ways, and I'm going to run through a few of them now. So first of all, now this is the one that, you know, is used most, and that is the free webinar, and where you've all said here, yes, whether you're an affiliate and you're selling other people's products, or whether you're selling your own products, what tends to happen is you run a free webinar, it's show and tell content, and then at the end there's a bit of a sale. And that is, I'll be honest, this is the kind of thing that I'm using this evening. Although I will say this right now, there's not going to be a big hard sale at the end of this at all. This is mainly show and tell and content, because I do want to convince everybody. There are different ways of selling through webinars. This is one way, which today is not going to be a big full-on sell webinar. Now, I'll be honest, in 2 weeks' time, and if you want to, you know, join me and witness that one, I'm going to be launching my new 5-star speaker system. That will be much more on the, you know, yes, I'm definitely going to be selling on that one, and I'm going to be doing all the gizmos and special offers and all that kind of thing to make those sales. I'm not going to be doing that tonight. You're going to get a couple of bonuses tonight, even if you don't buy a thing. Okay, so there are different ways of doing this, but you can also interview the expert. Okay, so what you can do is you can do a series, and they don't even have to be, you know, the hour long. You can do little 20-minute interviews. You can put them all together, and then you can sell that as a bit of a tele summit or a video series. Now this next one, the broker method. Now I love this. This is where you get together, you basically are the host, and you get an expert together with an audience and basically charge them for it, or even better, get sponsorship for it. Now a good friend of mine, he's a GP, and what he's doing is he is putting together CPD webinars for GPs. GPs have to have a certain amount of CPD hours every year, but instead of driving off and going off to some room, what he's doing is he's putting hour-long CPDs together. He's getting experts to talk about their chosen topics, and what he's doing is he's getting them sponsored by people such as pharmaceutical companies, and other people who currently already sponsor GP training. So how amazing is that? And then of course what he's going to do is start charging. So it's amazing. He's really doing very well with it. Then of course you've got content creation. One of the things which is great is you could do a load of free webinars, and then what you can do is you can cut the sale off the end, and then you can put them together as education and sell them as a series. So it's another fabulous way. You could record webinars particularly for education only, where there is no sale at all, and people just pay for them. So you can have paid webinar series, and of course the other thing that you can do is you can monetize by making your webinar evergreen. So in other words, they can sign up to it anytime, and it doesn't have to be just when, like tonight, is live. You only had one time that that you could come on. It was this date and it was this time. But with perpetual and evergreen webinars, people can watch them whenever they want to. They sign up, they watch it there and then. And you can even have ones where you charge for that as well. So can you see, by being creative, there's a lot of different ways you can use and monetize webinars, not just the traditional free webinar with some content and training and then a sale at the end. There's lots of other ways. Yeah, absolutely. Membership sites, you can have webinars as a benefit on membership sites as well. In fact, that is what I'm intending to do with my speaker system when I launch it. So there you go. Fantastic. Alrighty, so moving on then, I just want to tell you about how you can get more of this kind of information. I have put together, as I said, for me, webinars are all about the 4 Ps. Planning, presentation, platform, and promotion. And a while back, I actually ran what I was calling the Wicked Webinar Implementation Bootcamp. And I recorded 4 webinars, one on each of these topics. They're between an hour and an hour and a half long each. There is no sale on any single one of those webinars. And what I've decided to do is make them, I was obviously charging a lot more because they were live. People had the opportunity to ask questions. And also I was including Q&A webinars, and I was including some one-to-one strategy time as well. Now I've decided that it would be a great idea to put those 4 together, throw in a few of the Q&A sessions as well, and I'm bundling it all up together, and I'm going to let it out there for sale at $40. I've made a mistake there. I've put $49. It's not. I lied. It's $47, folks. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's $47. Anyway, this is where normally in a sale you say, right, do it by a certain time and you get discount or the price goes up. No, this is not. This is quite simply, this is what you get. This is what it is. It will still be $49 next week. It will still be $49 next month. At some point in the future, yes, sure, I might well put it up. But there is no urgency for you to sort of get this, because I don't want to put, when you're selling, if you're using the scarcity method, it better be genuine, because then none of these selling methods work, but they've got to be genuine. And I don't want to put this up. I wanted to always have a product that people can access at a low price. And $49 is a no-brainer. It's kind of not even an evening out. So I'm hoping that is a price that you guys are going to find accessible and acceptable to get you off the mark and get you helping with webinars. Now, later on, if you and I don't want you to lose out. So let's say, I know that I mentioned earlier on, in 2 weeks' time, I am going to be launching my superb speaking, my 5-star speaking system. Now, anybody who is going to buy that at a later date, if you buy Wicked Webinar Workshops tonight, and then in 2 weeks' time you decide, I want the 5-star speaker system, this program is already included in there as well. So I will refund you. If you move on later on and buy the 5-star speaker system, I'll refund you what you paid for this. I don't think I can say any fairer than that. And I need to say at this point, any of you who've bought my superb speaking system, you don't need to buy this, because you're going to get your hands on this as well anyway. So and I hope you can see by that, guys. Yes, I want to make a living. Yes, I'll put my hand on my heart. I do want to make money from what I'm doing, but I want to be fair. I want to be sincere, and I am genuine about wanting to help you move on, which is why I want to make sure nobody loses out by buying at the wrong time. And I don't think I can add any more to that. So I'm not going to put the thumb screws on you. What I will do, though, we all love to procrastinate. So if you do buy this tonight, those of you who are with me here online, and when this goes out by when I manage to get the replay out, if you buy it within 24 hours, what I will do is I will throw in a free one-to-one strategy session with me, and so that will kind of gets you off the fence if you're on the fence, or as we like to do as humans, we do like to procrastinate. So hopefully that might stop you procrastinating. But as I said, otherwise there's no gimmicks, there's no special bonuses that you get only if you buy within a given time frame, and it's not available to just the first 10. So there it is. That is going to be my little signature program on webinars, which are going to be available at that price. It'll be $47, folks. It won't be $49. Okay, so that's it. Are there any questions about any of the material that we've covered so far before I tell you about what your special bonuses are? That's the website, by the way. Actually, what I will do, in case you're thinking that you might want to do this, let me go and get it for you. No, that's I'm just going to copy this and pop it in the chat box for you. There you go. Okay, so if you want to get it, that's where you go to get it, basically. Any questions? Any questions that you've got about any of the material that we've covered tonight? Or about the workshops program, or about anything? Because if you've got questions, now is the time. If not, I'm going to tell you about the super duper. Yeah, I'm getting there, Mary. I'm getting there. If you've got no more questions, I'm going to tell you how you get your hands on that super duper promotion offer that I was telling you about. No questions. Fantastic. Right then, this is superb. Now, put in the box for me if you saw the really cool Halloween video that I was using to promote this webinar. Put it in the box if you saw that. Yeah. What did you think? It was great, wasn't it? No, you didn't see it. Right. Well, it's over on my Facebook page. So if you didn't see it, it was an amazing little video that was put together for me by Mary, and I loved it. And Mary is doing me a special favour by making that available to people who are on this live call by giving 20% discount off the usual cost. She normally charges, because these things are quite tricky to put together and I gather take a bit of time, she normally charges $497, but as a special favour to my followers, which I'm very grateful for, Mary, thank you very much, she's going to be just charging $397 dollars for that. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, email her, and you have to take it up by the real Halloween. So you have to take it up by the 31st of October. And I'm just going to put a link in there for you to be able to get your hands on that. Okay, there you go. Paste. Pop that in there. So if that's something that you fancy having a look at, because again, you know, promotion and marketing is obviously a big part of your webinars. And also, I promised you a webinar planning template tool. So if you head on over to this address, I'll type that in because I haven't got it linked. So basically, if you go to getspeaking.com/planning template. I don't know if it likes that. getspeaking.com/planning template. There we go. That will give you. Oh, that's it. Mary's saying put in the subject line when you contact her, Wicked Webinar Special, Halloween Special, Wicked Webinar Halloween Special, and she'll know that that's the discount for you being on this webinar. Okay, so that's how you get your hands on the template. I hope that link is working for you now. I hope you can grab that. And that is it. So thank you for bearing with me, guys. I will send the recording out as fast as I can. I've just got to get it rendered and then get it up there. I do apologise to all of you who came on but you couldn't get on until after we'd started because of all the technical difficulties. And if you're watching this on the replay, again, I'm so sorry that you were unable to make it live, and I will run this again in the near future live to make it up to you so that you can actually come on and ask your questions to me in person. So that's it then. Judging on where you are, have a lovely evening, have a lovely afternoon, and you know, au revoir, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you, Oliver. Good night. Thanks all. Bye bye. Oh, it doesn't want to go off. There you go.